Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Introducing Linux Patching in Insight and in Central. Before we go any further, quick notification from our legal department. This content may contain forward-looking statements regarding future product plans and development efforts. Basically, there's no commitment from us today to deliver on any of the features you might see in this webinar with any certain timeframes as such. So for those who don't know me, my name is Paul Kelly. I'm a head nerd here at Enable, focus around our solutions, so Insight and in Central. Been with Enable now for 10 years, and I have previously worked in MSP before that, so in the industry for over 25 years, despite my youthful good looks. My focus tends to be around automation, patching, security, and our platforms. So if you ever have any questions around any of these things or Enable products in general, you're more than welcome to reach out to me at paul.kelly@n-enable.com, or alternatively, if you just want to keep up to date what events I'm hosting, what boot camps I'm running, what office hours I'm running, you can connect with me on LinkedIn at headnerdpaul. And I'm very excited to say joining me today are two very prestigious product managers here at Enable. First up, we have Director of Product Management here at Enable, Ewan Cameron.
Oh, thanks, Paul. I'm not sure if I'd quite fit into the categories that you're suggesting, but yeah. So I'm Ewan Cameron. I'm Director of Product on the product, focusing on patch and vulnerability management. I've been with Enable for 3.5 years now, and you may have heard me talk about Insight and N-Central, which are products which have also been worked on in the past. If you ever need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. My email is ewan.cameron@enable.com, as you can see on the slide. And if you want to hit me up on LinkedIn, you can see the link also on the side as well. And with me today, I've got one of my team, which is Chris Dunsmore, who I don't think needs much introduction, but I'll let him introduce himself as well.
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, I'm Chris Dunsmore. I'm a senior product manager for Enable. I look after patch management for both N-Central and Insight. I've been with the company now for almost 11 years. I've worked in support roles, I've worked in sales engineering roles, and prior to working here, I also owned a computer repair company, so I understand a lot of the pains you guys deal with on a day-to-day basis. You're always welcome to contact me anytime, whether it's via email or my LinkedIn details that's on the slide. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, guys. Great to have you here today. And this is an easy webinar for me because I just have to do a bit of hosting, click a few buttons, and I'm going to hand it over now to you and Chris to take us through what Linux patching is going to look like. We're going to see some demos, see some slides, and see what's still to come. We have a few questions towards the end as well. Ewan?
Okay, thanks, Paul. Yeah, so today we're going to introduce our new Linux patching proposition, which is the first step of our new patching solution, which we will be starting to roll out in a couple of weeks. This proposition is, as I said, it's just the start. The primary use case, the primary focus is to introduce patching, and as I said, the use cases for Linux servers. So we understand that there's a lot of work which you expect from a patching system. This is the first step, so you'll see the first set of features. There's a lot of features. We've got a very large and long roadmap which will continue well into 2026. And this is just the very first steps of this. And as I say, this is focusing on Linux patching. So Chris, why are we adding Linux patching? If you wouldn't mind moving on the slide, Paul.
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons. The first one's relatively simple, right? We don't have a Linux patching tool that you could use today, and it's something that we get asked for quite a lot. But the larger plan is that we ultimately want to provide a multi-operating system patching experience. So that is a system where you can patch your Linux, your Windows, your Mac devices, all in the same workflows, the same policy system, same views, same dashboards, and so on. But the main goals of removing any need that you have for patching manually with the operating systems that we don't provide support for, or even for some of you that are running these operating systems in other tools. Now, some of what we'll deliver on this journey, and this is not the full list, these are just some of the key things that we want to highlight, is we will build a new approval system with new deployment controls. And one of the ways that we think about doing this is a system that's easy by default and then optionally complex. And the reason, and that we think of it like this is we've got the two products today. We've got Insight and we've got N-Central. And Insight's it's an easy system to get up and running in. There isn't really great options if you want to take some devices and put them in a more granular, more complex setup, that their needs require. In Central's the complete opposite. You have all the granularity and all the complexity you could ever need, but there isn't really a way that you can just put devices into an easy setup. So ultimately, we want to deliver something, a best of both worlds approach. You could put all your devices in easy, all your devices in complex, or you can mix and match, not just over particular clients, but over different device types as well. Probably the big one that we'll spend a lot of time focusing on is actionable insights on failed patches. So failed patches is by far the number one reason that you guys create support cases for patches with our current support team. And truthfully, 99% of that time it is normally an environmental reason, but our products don't necessarily tell you why they failed. Like, you get an error code, an error message, but most people don't understand what those codes and messages mean. We want to give you insight into what those mean, give you clear explanations, and then also allow you to remediate those issues direct inside the product. And then lastly, we just want to give a much better experience when just looking at the overall visibility of patch, like the health of the devices, the engine health, whether the patch engines are actually running and finding patches, and then just ultimately improve the overall security posture. Thanks, Paul. We can move on. We do have Linux patching, a public preview of Linux patching coming soon. Right now, we are in a limited tech preview. We have well into 100 partners using it and have been using it for some time. You are welcome to join the limited tech preview. You could contact me through the details that was on the slide. Happy to add you. If you want to wait for the public preview to go live within a couple of weeks, this is the feature set that you should expect. So we will be doing the deployment of a patch engine. When the patch engine is deployed, it will find the operating system packages. If you choose to install those packages, you do get the progress. So whether a package is in progress, whether it's scheduled to be installed at a later time, if it has completed the install, or if it's in that failed state that we've mentioned that you can then go off and diagnose. We will be bringing in visibility to the dependencies, so that will allow you to see whether a particular patch you want to install needs other packages to install with it. If it's mandatory packages, then the engine is intelligent enough to install those. If they're optional packages, then that's something that you can make a decision whether you want to install them or not. We'll be bringing in that new centralized fail patch view straight away. We have reboot control coming in, support for offline devices. So if a particular device has some critical updates that you need to get installed immediately, you can select patch as soon as it's back online, knowing that as soon as that device comes on, it's going to be patched, it's going to be secure, and it's not going to be sitting in the network as a potential area of exploitation. Down in the new asset view, we have a patch tab now. So if you click into an asset, you'll be able to click a patch tab, you'll to see the patch history, you'll be able to interact with the patches, and you'll be able to use the same install workflows from there. And then we also have a new patch icon. The patch icon on launch will give you the engine status, and it will also tell you the last time a patch scan ran. Now, I think it's best now that I'm going to hand it over to Ewan, and it's much better to see all this in a live demo. So I'll pass to Ewan. You can share a screen and we'll show you exactly what this all looks like.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen now. And Chris, please feel free to interject if as I go through this as well, because I'm sure because there's so much here, I'm sure I'll forget something or miss something, which we may like to that you might want me to call out. And if you've got any additional insight or I want to highlight anything else, feel free to jump in and keep this conversational. Now, one of the first things I'd like to point out is that this is working, that this new patch system is built within our Ecoverse and that works both within End Central and End Site. So just now you can see the End Central dashboard. So we have a new patch management menu item here on the left-hand nav, and when we open it up, you can open up and you can see the new screen here with some of the stuff that Chris was talking about, the new field patches view, the patch overview, etc. So you can see this here, and furthermore, also within Insight, if I go to the new asset view, which many of you are getting familiar with now as well. Oh, and I've got a wee Pendle pop up there. Now and then again, within here you can see that there's the new features with the new patch management icon. You can see that these are for Linux machines also. And I'm just very quickly showing you this. You can see there's a new patch tab here as well. We'll go into a bit more details in this in a second on N-Central, but you can see this is the workflows that's within Nsight. And now I'm going to switch across to N-Central, and you'll see exactly the same workflows as well. So when we launch this, the new patch system will be available with common workflows across N-Central and Nsight, with the only differences being the navigations into the different screens where the patching is done. So I'm now on N-Central here. And what we have on N-Central is if we come down and the N-Central navigation, you can see Linux patching under the configuration and Linux and patch management. And then it opens up this overview screen here. And again, within the new assets view as well, we'll come back to that in a minute. Now, I'm just going to expand that so then we can just pretend that this is a generic journey and work which is similar across both platforms. So let me just close this down just now. So this is the new patch management overview screen, which we have, which we've introduced here. And here you can see a bunch of information. You can see, how many packages that we have that are available to be patched. So down here we have a list of all the patches which are available here as well. Oh, okay, sorry, I've got a filter on here. I'm just going to clear my filter. So you can see the all the packages which are available in here. What you will notice as well in my version is that I have got some Apple patches in here, some Apple OS updates. Now, this is something which we have internal preview. I have it enabled in my systems. We will be introducing this as a limited tech preview, hopefully towards the end of the year, is what we're expecting. So this is, again, what we're doing just now is we're showing you what we've got available for Linux. Mac OS is coming soon. Beyond and into 2026, we'll have third-party apps for Windows and Windows OS as well. But of course, as we introduce patching for Windows services and for Mac services, those require a different set of core features, which are expected just as baseline features for patching those systems. So as we continue to build out the features within the new patch management system, we will also be iteratively introducing the new engines as well for for third-party patching and for the other operating systems also. Within this view here, you can see that there's that we have a lot of different packages here. We can see that there's we've got 244 packages in the in this view. Also within the view, you have the ability to quickly navigate through the patches by classification. So you can see, the different types of classifications, the different types of severity, and the different OSs that we support here as well. Also within here, within the patch overview, you can see things with regards to the patch name, when it was published, the severity, classification of the patches, the OSs. And then what we also show you in this overview is the actual status of where the patch is on its installation journey. Is the patch available to be installed on a bunch of assets? Is it pending? Is it being scheduled? How many devices may it be installed on or failed on? So what you can actually do here is you can click through, as an example, and you can see which devices are eligible to have the patch installed on. So as an example, you can click into here and you can see that these are the devices where the patch can be installed on. The other thing as well with regards to the screen is if we click on the actual line, which the patches where the patch is, you can actually see information with regards to the patch, with regards to the title and the description as well. So you can actually, so we're giving you the information also with regards to what the patch is actually about. And it's actually okay. So let's move into a patch journey. Chris, anything else you would like me to add in the screen?
I think the main one is the patch details that come in from the right-hand side. That's something that by public preview where we expect to show granular dependency information in a new tab, and also the column for whether a patch does have some dependencies is likely to appear in that main grid as well. So yeah, a couple more additions to come in.
Yeah, so you can see here, if, for example, restart required and things like that, which may help you make a decision whether or not you want to apply a reboot as you go through that journey. Also, so awesome. So what we can do then is we can, if we go through there, and the beauty about this new journey as well, first is that you can actually do multiple patches. So if we were to, for example, to look at and we wanted to install multiple packages, so let's just go for these bind 9 packages here. What you can do is you can select multiple packages, and it's as simple as just selecting an action to install selected updates. It will then show you all the devices which you can actually install it on, and with information around the customer, the site, etc. And you can select them all, or you could just select a couple of those devices. And to install is as simple as just hitting the install patch action, which we have, and then we have different options in here, which include install now, and we also have the ability to set a schedule. So if you wanted to set a schedule to install something, install it tomorrow, and then you can select the time and say you wanted to install it at 10 p.m. It's as easy as just selecting the date and the time. Now, if the device is actually offline when you want it to install, you can control it to when the device is next seen as to force the install as well by selecting this button here. And again, you may also want to force a reboot, and this may be something which you do for best practice, or it may be a requirement to actually ensure that the patch is successfully installed and running as well. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to actually take it back and do an install now to watch, and then hit the install button, install patches. And then you can see that the patch has been successfully installed. Now, the other thing which is really good about the screen as well is you have the ability to filter. You have the ability, based on the different columns which you've got here as well. Or we could just do a quick search. So I just wanted to do a quick search on bind, and then we can see the packages which we've installed. And then if we were to click into the pending on, you can actually see the status of these, of where they're actually being installed. So these are the two which are in progress as well. So you can actually see this now. These packages typically installed pretty quickly, so they may disappear when we return to this view. As you can see now, it's gone down to 1, so and the install count is going up. So you can see that these are being installed also, and in a relatively fast time as well.
There's two things I'll add, Ewan. If you bring up the pending count, if one still sits there. Okay, so if Ewan had set a schedule, what you would see in the next install date is you would see the scheduled time and date. And if you changed your mind and you wanted to cancel after the fact, there is a cancelling action inside that area as well.
Yeah, well, we can just show that, Chris, if you want. So I can just come in here. Let's install, set up a schedule for tomorrow. Or let's do it for Sunday at 1 a.m. Install here. And then so this is now set this package to be scheduled. So if we come into here, as you say, Chris, we've now got this scheduled here. So you've now got your patch demo scheduled, and you can come in, and if you want to, you can cancel the schedule as well. Or if you've got a bunch of assets which are, packages which are being installed in multiple assets, you can actually come in, and there'll be a bulk select as well. So you can actually cancel all those package installations as well, should you choose to do so. Now, as you can see from a perspective of actually patching Linux, you do not need to shell onto the machine. Look at understand about the dependent packages and run the package install commands from a command line. Using SuperUser. This is now we're allowing you or your technicians to actually come along and very simply just manage Linux patching through a very simple user experience, which we've introduced. As well. So again, you're typically you will not need someone with Unix or Linux admin experience to come along and install packages anymore, and to do the updates of the machines. You can just come along and do the patch management through our simple UI. Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you the failed patch view. So when something does fail, rather than having to go off and dig out the reasons for failure and pull out logs and whatnot, what we're actually doing now is we're introducing this new view where we're actually capturing when patches have failed and giving you the reasons why they failed. So you can see here the patches which have failed, the ID, severity and classification, and the assets which it's on, the status of the devices, when it was failed, and then the reasons for failure as well. So you can see here, for example, we put this package on hold just to load up the screen, and we can see here, for example, that there's some input arguments as well, which are there. So this actually allows you just to go to a single place where you can get the failure code and failure messages with regards to why a package has failed. So this will help you hopefully triage and diagnose any patching issues a lot faster. Chris?
Yeah, the one I always like to mention is the fail count, because if I'm looking in at failed patches and I see something that's failed once, and something that we don't have here but we will be adding is a next install date, so it'll tell you the next time it's going to attempt. If I see it as 1 and then it's going to attempt again tonight, I'd probably just leave it unless it's an urgent patch. Whereas if I'm looking at the fail count 7, then I could probably make an educated guess that it's going to fail again, and there's something that we need to do about that. Now, right now, the failure code and the failure message doesn't necessarily help you do something right in the product today, but we are going to build in what you call mitigation steps. And those mitigation steps will tell you more about what that failure code and failure message means, tell you what you can do to remediate it. And then if it's something that we could actually push as a remediation action through the system, we plan to offer those as well. And another idea I like to think of is, if you in future have 100 patches in a failed state, and let's say 30 of them have the same fix, if you could filter on all the devices that need the exact same fix and then bulk fix them at the same time, it's much better than what we have and most patching systems in the market make you do today, which is go to each device individually, diagnose one at a time, and then try and fix them one at a time. So this is really what we're trying to do here, is centralize and make your fixing as easy as possible, because if we're being honest, very, very few networks are perfect. There's always going to be failures somewhere.
Yeah. And again, to sort of elaborate on what Chris is saying as well, from the screen as well, you can actually take actions also. So if you want to retry the patches either on bulk, as Chris says, we can go through the same journey again of triggering the patches, either at scheduled time or immediate install. The other feature which we'll be adding on this screen as well will be a reboot command also, because sometimes your patching may have just failed because of insufficient memory, or something might just not be clean on the machine when the patch was trying to be installed. So you could come here, trigger a reboot, and then after your reboot, then trigger the retry to to see if the patch would be successful. So this is somewhere where you can come and sort of manage your field patches also. So we'll make this a little bit more interactive and hopefully a place where you can sort of quickly diagnose, triage, and fix some of your field patches also. Okay, great. So this is the field patch view. This is the patch overview. This is what is coming as part of our MVP. As I said, our initial use case is really focused around Linux servers currently. So this is really just focusing on an install now journey with the ability to allow you to install when a device that may be offline or schedule that and trigger the reboot. We don't have, for example, reboot controls, which may be required, for example, for macOS. Those are coming in the very near future and will be part of the macOS update when we move that into public preview as well early next year. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the menu again and go to the assets view. So another part of the ecosystem. So this is the assets view, which is available in both Insight and N-Central. And I'll hide the menu again. So you can see the assets view here, and I'm going to go to my patch demo view here. So what you can see here again is a list of the assets which are on my site here from my customer. And you can see that we've got some Linux and Apple devices. And again, the Apple devices are here because we're currently validating this through as an internal preview. And I have some Apple devices live on my customer. So from the patch perspective, the information which you may be interested to see is we have a column here, which is the new patch management engine, and you can see the status of the patch management engine, if the engine's enabled and when and the date of the last scan as well. So we have that working across the for our patching as well. And yeah, so we have that in here so that you can get an initial view of what's actually going on with the patch engine as well to understand if there's any problems with that. We can also click through and into the new tab overlay. So this is a new device details overlay tab. And what we've got here, and I showed you this earlier on also very quickly for Insight, we have a new patches tab. So within the patch tab, if you were to click that, we actually show you the information, which is the patch history. So you can now see the patch history within this tab also. So if I make it a little bit bigger, you can see the information with regards to status, patch name, patch ID, the published date, severity, classification, etc. And here also, so you can see which the statuses of the patches which are in progress. So you can see here, for example, there's some which are available, some which are in progress, and some which are completed as well. And also from within this page, so you can come in there, and if there's certain patches which you see which are available and you want to install, you can again go through the same journey, select the patches which you want to install, and then click the install patches, and then you can choose to install now, set a schedule. Let's set it for Saturday at 10 p.m. And then again, it's exactly the same journey which we saw before. And we hit the install patches command here button, and then you can see that it's successfully been initiated. And what you will also see now is that these packages are now in progress. And if you were to go back to the look in the patch overview and view, you'd actually see that those packages are pending with the schedule time in there also. Chris, anything you would want to add here?
No, I think it's only just the natural maturity of this view will grow again over the next few weeks. We are still adding in the next install date or the install date column for the scheduled patches, and also the completed date needs to come into this view as well. I think as well there was a status. If you go to the filtering on the status column, those ones, because you scheduled them up, Ewan, will show in a scheduled state.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, rather than in progress, because in progress would be the install now if they're actually in progress. So
yeah. So again, yeah, we have the filtering, the new design of this as well. So you using our new design system, so you can actually use the filtering, the searching, etc. as well. The other thing which I didn't mention also is you also have the ability to export here, so you can export all the details from uh, to Excel into CSV as well. And if I just quickly close this, and if I were to go back to the Linux patching overview, this is something which you can also do as well. So if I were to clear the filters also from here, you can then export all the information with regards to the patches and all the screens that we have. You have the ability to export to Excel and into CSV as well. So you can export and get a snapshot of all the different statuses of the patches that you are currently in the process of managing, installing, etc. as well. Okay, Chris, did I miss anything or anything else you want me to cover from the demo here?
No, I think we're all good. I think it's probably a good point to either jump to the what's coming next slide that we have, or questions. I think the slide probably might answer some of the questions that we've got coming in. But so as I said, we talked about earlier the functionality that we expect to go live in the public preview. We do have a lot of resources working on patch just now. It is one of the big projects for Enable, so there's a lot of things cooking and coming in the not too distant future. So the dependent package information, as I said, we do hope and expect that to be live within the preview, but if it's not, it will follow very, very soon after the preview date. We're building a new completed patch history view. There's a couple of reasons for this. The main reason is it's just a great piece of functionality. You'll be able to go to a tab. You'll be able to see all the patches. Whether you want to group them by view the patches by an asset, or if you want to group all patches by patch and see all the assets that have installed a particular patch, manipulate the columns, the data, export that out into a CSV, or if you want to turn that into a more readable report that you can send to your customers, you can do so. Eventually, we will, however, have the sort of more advanced reporting for it, where you've got like your compliance reporting. But in the meantime, we'll give you this view so that you've got that real-time sort of reporting that you could use. Policies is probably the big one. Most of the feedback that we've been getting in this limited preview stage is that whilst policies is absolutely where most of you want at least 90, if not 100% of your devices to eventually be sitting within, to fully automate all the patches on a set schedule, every week or every month, there is going to be an introduction period for you using this product where you're going to have to build up trust. So, over the coming weeks and months, if you're building up trust, doing some on-demand patching, the policy-based patching is not too far away. It's something that we're working on, and I'm fully aware that that's going to be what most people want to be using. And then we talked about the failed patches, so we're working on the mitigations for failed patches. That just takes us a bit of time to build up a database, all the different failures that we see, make sure that we're giving good recommendations for how to solve those. So we're working behind the scenes on that just now, and when we think we've got enough of them, we'll start switching that on. And then Mac OS patching as well. So it's going to share a lot of the same workflows, but it will have some of its own nuances. Mac, for example, you have to send let's say an end user interactive reboot notice before you install patches. So that's something that we need to deliver. And also, whilst Intel-based Macs are really easy to install operating system patches on, Mac Silicon's not. They require a volume ownership details to be able to do so. So we're creating a one-time command that you can interact with in the various parts of the user interface, whether it's in the patch interface or down at the asset view, where you can send the volume ownership details to our engine, It's secure, it'll be saved, we don't need to ask again, but from that point on, we'll be able to install the operating system updates. If you were only interested in third party when we eventually add that, you don't need to provide volume ownership credentials, but it is a mandatory thing that Apple enforce for the operating system patches. I think we're all good, unless there's anything you think that we should also highlight, Ewan.
I think we're all good here.
So we do have a few questions after coming in, guys. Conveniently enough. Question from Michael is, what Linux flavors are compatible with Linux patching?
So the engine that we have is actually compatible with more flavors than the current products will allow you to use it on. So whatever our existing Nsight and N-Central agents are, they can deploy the component, and they'll be able to patch. In future, when we look to decouple the new modern agent from the existing sort of Nsight and N-Central agents, then our support should expand dramatically because the much larger support that we have in the engine.
Good stuff. Will asks, will this integrate with vulnerability dashboards as well?
Yeah. I'll let Ewan cover this one because Ewan gets to be in charge of both of them.
Yes, so the experience that we're building and the actions, the patch actions will be although the engines are separate and they're different engines, we are linking them together. So if there is a patch available which we can patch, we will be introducing a journey where you can remediate vulnerabilities using the patch engine as well moving forward. So that's something which is we're in advanced stages of actually building out just now and should be available early in 2026.
Paul, great name. Paul asks, does a tech need to know the root logon to push a patch through the system? I think you touched on that already.
We're making it really easy. Like one of the bits of feedback we had from one of our early trial users was he wanted, or the way he was patching just now was he personally was going into Linux servers, SSHing into them and doing it manually himself. But this new feature is allowing him to pass it down the levels to level 1 techs who don't have those credentials. So they could just, as long as they have the permissions in the product to go to the patching area, they'll be able to patch. And we are giving them the information like reboot control dependency information. It won't install a patch without the dependencies. So yeah, you'll be able to give the lower level techs without this access, the ability to patch, which is great.
Yeah, and maybe just to add to that as well, and I did mention this earlier on, is that the way that we support patching on Linux machines is that you do not need to be a Unix admin or have Unix admin or Linux admin experience to sort of go in and install the packages and manage all the dependencies, etc. that are there. So this is a real advantage. And sure, you may need to go in and do some troubleshooting for some more complicated machines moving forward, but then at that point, then you can hand it over to the resources that do have that more specialist skill set as well.
Tim asks, if we happen to manually update a Linux node using an app update, will the patch management engine be aware of that the next time it scans?
Yes. So because it's really low footprint, this engine, like you barely notice it doing a detection scan. We actually have it configured just now to do a scan every hour. So assuming you install those patches, within an hour, a new detection scan will run. It will see that those patches are no longer necessary for that device, and it knows to go off and mark them as not needed in the database on our site.
Denver asked the question, can you add a monitor to see how many patches are outstanding on a device?
Not yet. It's something that not just patch, but all of us are considering a new monitoring service, in this new modern views that we have. So there's a team dedicated to building a new monitoring service, and of course we'll be part of that in time.
But as I think Ewan showed when we clicked on the actual patch tab within the asset venues menu as well, you'll see what's missing and what's installed there. I think we saw earlier. So while we won't have a monitor per se, you will be able to see that information against the device as well. This question we got actually several times, so I saved it till the end. And it's around accessing the actual preview. For Insight users, guys, I'm correct in saying, they will just see this once it goes into public preview. For N-Central partners, it is part of the Ecoverse, so they will need to be using Enable SSO. And as someone who's worked in N-Central for years, I would recommend that you're on the latest version of N-Central, which is 25.4. If you have any questions around that, you can reach out to me directly around that one as well. I don't have any questions from my side, guys. Anything else you want to add before we finish up today?
I just that this is something that we are heavily committed to. It's we're on a journey. Myself and Ewan want to give people access to things that we believe will solve problems as early as possible, rather than spending another 6 months building extra functionality, right? So we're giving you something. We are acutely aware that policies and monitoring and reporting all need to come in, to come in, but feedback is fantastic. Send us feedback, what you like, what you don't like, and we'll try and build what you guys want as best as possible.
Yeah, and maybe to further elaborate on that as well, as we do, and we are inviting partners to get involved in some of the stuff, the items that are maybe slightly further out as well. We're working on some really interesting, designs at the moment for things which we expect to be pushing out into the first half of next year. But we're testing like some early prototypes, some design prototypes. We're getting feedback on those as well. We're keen to get as many partners on and involved in getting and helping us shape out what the future of those services look like as early as possible. So if you're interested in that, getting involved in that, please reach out to myself or Chris, and then we can certainly get you engaged with our UX research team, who would love to speak to you about all this exciting stuff that we're working on.
Good stuff, lads. Thanks for your time today. It's very informative and very exciting. And certainly from the comments and feedback we've been receiving, lots of you out there are excited by this too. Keep an eye out for your notifications. We will be releasing this very soon. As Ewan and Chris says, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to the entire team here. We'd be happy to help you. I want to thank Chris and Ewan for their time today. I'm sure you found this webinar useful, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.